Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is the sound? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. 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 Can you hear me, Brother Bhai?
Am I audible or shall I use some earphones, etc.?
To me, you are audible.
I can hear you too.
Okay.
Just project your voice a little bit, Sahar, because when you are speaking, it's a little muted, but otherwise we can hear you.
Peace be upon you. My name is
Recording in progress.
Muhammad Abdul Jabbar. This is the 35th episode of the Prisoners of Haqq, or the Prisoners of Conscience. Those prisoners who have been imprisoned by India, the so-called democracy, the largest democracy of the world. This is the project of Justice for All, which is a non-profit organization established in Chicago. Justice for All stands with oppressed and persecuted minorities in different parts of the world. It has different departments like Burma Task Force, Kashmir Action, Save India from Indian Fascism, and Uyghur Muslim, and also Sri Lankan Muslim. Kashmir Action has been active for quite some time. It has introduced the Kashmir issue in its true perspective to its readership in the US and Canada. We do this job through our newsletter, MNTV, and social media network. Until now, we have held many programs on how to get the right to self-determination for the people of Kashmir. Under this department of Kashmir Action, the Justice for All, we have started a campaign for the release of 5 prisoners of conscience, or prisoners of Haqq, and they are Shabir Shah, Asian Drabi, Asif Sultan, a journalist, Sister Nahida Nasreen, and Sister Sophie. Today's program is with Sahar Shabir Shah, the daughter of a renowned Kashmiri leader, Shabir Shah, who has been in jail for about 35 years in total, and still he is languishing in Tihar jail of Delhi, despite of being innocent and despite of his deteriorating health conditions. Hina Zubairi, the director of Justice for All, is the moderator of the program, and over to Sister Hina Zubairi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a very, very special session of our Prisoners of Haqq campaign. This is the first time we're focusing the spotlight on Kashmir. And to have Shabir Shah's daughter with us to really give an inside view of the persecution that he has faced over the past many, many years, that he has been fighting for his right to self-determination, and also the work that he has been doing on the ground. So he's been long recognized as Amnesty's prisoner of conscience, But our campaign, Prisoner of Haqq, is even more focused than a prisoner of conscience. This is people who have stood up for truth and justice their entire life and have been smeared, propagandized against, and just made to be people who are loathed instead of people who should be recognized as torchbearers. And to learn more about him, learn more about him from an insider's point of view, we have with us Shabir Shah, his daughter, who has been on the forefronts on speaking about his cause, highlighting his case. We hope that the material that we're gathering in these sessions will be used at some point to bring people who have been perpetrating these atrocities against the Kashmiri people for the longest time to justice somewhere in the future. So that's why sometimes we will be going over basic updates, basic backgrounds that many in the audience might already be aware of, but it's important to note this down in one format. So thank you so much, Sahar, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. So Sahar, let's start from the beginning. Could you tell us, introduce your father to our audience, to those who may have never heard of him. Who is he, and why is he known as the Nelson Mandela of Kashmir?
Yeah. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Shabir Shah. I am daughter of the prisoner of conscience, Shabir Shah, the person who started the freedom movement long back. From the age of 14, he has dedicated his life to the Kashmir struggle, and he was first arrested at the age of 14 in 1968. At present, he is in Tihar jail, scripting the new history of resistance, that is 34 years and counting, that too with no trials. My father, Shabir Shah, is among the front-run resistance leaders of Kashmir who always stood for the peaceful resolution of Kashmir dispute. For his different political opinion, India has always put my father, Shabir Ahmed Shah, behind bars to silence his political voice. He was termed prisoner of conscience by human rights watchdog Amnesty International in May 1995. He is a Kashmiri leader who has seen and suffered the agonies of slavery, and in his 33 years of imprisonment, he has been subjected to brutal tortures till his 20 years for reiterating an established fact and acknowledged truth. Shabir Shah, my father, has exhibited high qualities of patience and perseverance, gentleness and sobriety. He was subjected to torture in the most notorious interrogation centers and prisons all over India. Not only him, but also his family had to pay the huge price, including his father's custodial killing. He spent his life languishing in jails all over India with no proved case at all, and he was also known as the Nelson Mandela of Kashmir when he completed 20 years in prison. But now, as he has broken the record, he has spent more than 34 years of his life in prison for the Kashmir cause, despite of innumerable and continuous miseries brought to him. He remains steadfast, strong, brave, and unshakable in his commitment towards a much cherished goal and a cause for which he has given his life. He remains untired, and his resolve remains as fresh, as strong as it was about 50 years back when he started his long and just struggle. He has led from the front and has always been in harm's way. Away from the limelight, he continues to languish in the Indian jails in pathetic conditions. Whenever my father Shabir Shah was free from jails, he talked about unity amongst Kashmiris for carrying forward the mission of freedom. And in extreme and warlike conditions, he has always stood for peaceful methods of resolving the Kashmir dispute. He has never shied away from talks with anyone who is willing to talk about Kashmir, always portraying the real picture of the plight of Kashmiris and the dark future of the subcontinent without resolving the core issue of Kashmir. He has talked to all former prime ministers of India, foreign dignitaries, including senior George Bush, diplomats, and leaders around the globe who understand the nuances of the Kashmir problem. He has never been provided with a passport so that he could travel and let the world, civilized people around the world, to listen to our plight and raise a voice in corridors of powers of world for resolution of the complex Kashmir issue. He himself was offered power many times just to derail him from the line of speaking and leading the cause of Kashmir, which he never accepted and chose a life of immense hardships and jails. It is on record that he has spent more than 33 years of life of his life in prisons with hundreds of cases against him without even a single case proven against him. Visiting my father, Shabir Shah, in Asia's most notorious jail, Tihar Jail, has always been emotionally overwhelming for me. Because for the most of my life, I have been seeing my father through a small window of glass, so small that I could barely see his face, and so blurred that I couldn't picture him, but only his shadow like thing. In jail, I could neither touch him nor see him clearly. Instead, I used to put my hand on the glass window, and so did my father, and it used to feel like we were holding hands. I'm very attached to my father and his continuous detention, the way they tortured him, interrogated him, and kept him with the criminals accused of rapes, threats, murders, and many, many worst things, where he couldn't get even enough food to eat. That has worsened my health because, as I told you, I was very and I am very attached to my father. So, all this, I couldn't see him like that. So, it worsened my health. And as per the medical records, he has been diagnosed with severe heart ailments, blocks in arteries, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, and many other health ailments. Last Sunday, we received a call, 5 minute call. It is a 5 minute call from Tihar jail. And from that, we came to know that my father has some serious kidney problems in his genitourinary system. And he is getting acute attacks of pain. And he really needs detailed evaluation. But for that, we need the documents that they are not giving us. My father, Shabir Shah, is seriously unwell right now, but his morale is very high because I remember on one meeting, he saw me a bit disturbed. And in a bold voice, like a lion, he said that even after completing 34 years of imprisonment, I am as strong as I was in 1968. Honestly, it's intolerable to see a non-violent, peace-loving person being treated as a criminal and not as a political prisoner. I do miss him after all because he's my father, but I get hallucinations and I see my father. I hear his voice, and I am currently under high dosages of medications. But whatever little time I have spent with him, he has engraved a sense of fighter in me to stand against the oppression and to stand for the rights of Kashmiris, which was promised to us. Each day of his life inspires us to be steadfast, sincere, and brave in taking any course of action which leads us towards truth, and we stand for our rights and the oppressed people of Kashmir and the unjust onslaught against us. Currently, he's lodged at Tihar Jail, New Delhi since 2017 with a fake, fabricated, and politically motivated case where the main accused has already been released. The bail is denied time and again, and there is no reason. It's just, they just give a simple reason that no court can do anything. Don't, because
So, Sahar, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about this case. So, he has been accused by India's top financial investigation agency of involvement in funneling huge, quote unquote, huge proceeds of crime from various countries, including Pakistan, to create unrest in Kashmir. And allegedly, the money laundering was committed by him in 2005. So, this is the current case that he's being held on, or are there other cases as well?
mainly they are using this case, but there are many cases that are not still proven because in more than 34 years of cases, the prosecutor couldn't prove a single case against my father. And recently there was a hearing, and it was in news that the judge had, I don't know in which court it happens, that the judge asks the prisoner that whether he has faith in the judiciary or not.
Mm.
Yeah, it was asked, and I don't know where, in which court such things happen.
These things
So
happen with people of truth, like Afia Siddiqui happened in New York City. The judge in that case as well questioned her in her faith in the justice system. And so, has your father ever been able to testify in court?
no.
So
And
no one has ever heard his side of the story?
No, because it's not they want to hear, because there is nothing. There is nothing. They don't want to. What will they hear? They are, if we have everything, our everything is so clear. My mother was, we were summoned so many times just to humiliate us. We were getting summons every third day. Our house was seized. We couldn't do anything, but we were in the house, and we had to, my mother had to single-handedly go and go to the courts, meet the lawyers, and talk to them about all this. So we keep on getting summons, but my mother was present every time she was summoned, and Alhamdulillah, there was nothing proved against us. That's why the thing is that what will we testify? What will we prove there? They themselves say that don't even try. It's all up to the nod of the government, the higher authorities.
So, what people want to know, what is your father's side of the story? If he did ever get his day in court, what would he say? And I don't presume that you presume to speak for your father or on behalf, but on behalf of your father, knowing him and knowing your family, or if you had your day in court, what would you say?
What would I say regarding my father?
Your father, your family, the involvement in these cases, how your family has been treated by the state.
Yeah, actually, before this session, I was reading one. It is a historical event that has happened. It was about the Tada Court. It is the Tada Court incident that had happened here, and it is very known now because I have that what my father had replied to the judge, but it's in Urdu. Can I?
Of course, go ahead. I'll try to translate, inshallah.
Ji. When the judge just started saying everything, and it is a very famous incident of the Tada Court. He said, मैंने अपने बयान को conclude करने से कबल इस हकीकत का इजहार करना चाहूँगा कि अगर हक व इंसाफ पर मबनी इक़वाम मुत्तहिदा और सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल की पास करदा तवारीखी करारदादों की अमल आवरी के लिए जदोजहद और आवाज़ बुलंद करना किसी हिंदुस्तानी या बैनुल अक़वामी कानून की खिलाफ वर्जी करने के मुतदरिफ है, तो मैं इस खुली अदालत में इस जुर्म का इकबाल करता हूँ, और अगर हुसूल आज़ादी की जदोजहद हो, हमारा पैदाइशी हक है कि जुर्म की पैदाइश में फांसी के फंदे भी इंसाफ जुर्म की जस्ट अ मोमेंट है कि जुर्म की पैदाइश में फांसी का फंदा भी इंसाफ में मिले तो इसे खुशी से चूम लूंगा, क्योंकि ये रुतबा बुलंद मिला जिसको मिल गया हर मुद्दाए के वास्ते दारो रसन कहा. This was what he said to the judge.
Will you attempt to translate it? Roughly.
Yeah, I can. Roughly, yeah, I can. It was that he had said that if fighting for freedom, fighting for the rights of Kashmiris, the right of self-determination that was promised to them, if fighting for that is a crime, I am ready to commit this crime time and again. And for that, even if you will hang me, I am ready for that. So it was what he had said, and it's very known now.
So one of the things that reading about him that I wanted to ask you about is that your father wanted to be at the table when Kashmir was being discussed internationally, because normally when Kashmir is being discussed, either it's representatives from India or representatives from Pakistan, but Kashmiri representation themselves is not there. Kashmiris are not at the table when it's their freedoms or their self-determination or their cause that is being discussed. And we find this very similar right now as we look at, from our Burma Task Force lens, when we look at Bangladesh and Myanmar, when they discuss the Rohingyas, many times Rohingyas are not on the table. And this happens when two powers are speaking about indigenous people. So can you share with us more about his philosophy on unity, on Kashmir, on being at the table and discussing Kashmir, dialogue on Kashmir versus a armed movement?
Yeah, see, again, I can't speak on his behalf. And as far as I know him, I have seen him in jail most of my life. I've seen him in jail. But whatever, again, I'm saying that whatever I have seen in him, and it is not that, see, he never said that if you speak against India, he never said that. He said if you don't want to don't speak against some country, at least speak in favor of Kashmiris. Just stand with us. And he always used to say one thing, that dialogue is the solution. Because without dialogue, I don't think so anything can happen. And I guess he is the only separatist leader with whom all the prime ministers who were already big, who just left prime ministership or something, resting prime ministers, I think they are called. Yeah, all of them have met him, be it Vajpayee or anyone. And see, it is not that we people are that, oh my God, India is doing this, India is doing that. But at least if you are not supporting, if you're not saying against, we are not forcing you to say against India. And if you are not seeing the pain, the problems we go through, don't speak about it, but at least speak for Kashmiris. I alone, single-handedly, had started my Twitter account, and I had started the campaign #Free Shabir Shah. But unfortunately, yesterday I got a notice from Twitter, and it was that my account will be put down. And I don't know, it's not working now.
So your Twitter account has been suspended because of your because of this hashtag that you've started. Can you tell us a little bit more about this? Who had made the request to shut down your Twitter handle?
I don't know, but I can read out the mail. It was that and the worst thing is I couldn't bear that first, that because it was a lot of hard work even to get the followers so that I could aware people and let them know about what is happening in jail, what is happening. But I'm shocked and I'm happy at the same time, because it's a victory for me that they are actually seeing this and this is hitting them. The thing I did, just let me read it out. It is Twitter receipt of correspondence. It is in the interest of transparency, we are writing to inform you that Twitter has received a request from the Indian law enforcement regarding your Twitter account, Shabir Shah, that claims that many contents violate the law of India. We have not taken any action on the reported content at this time as a result of their request. As Twitter strongly believes in defending and respecting the voice of our users, it is our policy to notify our users. And it was just all this, and I just saw it before sleeping. I had to read all this, that Twitter is not able to provide legal advice. We want you to have an opportunity to evaluate the request. And if you wish, take an appropriate action to protect your interests. This may include seeking legal counsel and challenging the request in court, contacting relevant civil society organizations, voluntarily deleting the content, or finding some other solution. I don't know what it was. Now I just started I started one Instagram account, and I think soon they will just shut it also down.
Hmm. So so even in your own activism for your father, you're facing the Indian law agencies trying to shut your
And
voice
I'm saying
down.
anything like as a daughter, nothing, just as a daughter, it is nothing political.
Mm,
My everything starts and ends on my father, nothing else. So, but it's a victory for me. It is something I'm proud of myself.
because at least your voice is being heard somewhere. Now, many of the articles, when you pull up his name, many of the articles that obviously some of them are in Indian media and other international media. What are some of the ways he's being misrepresented in Indian media?
Yeah, he's being misrepresented. Like they say that the worst part is there are few cases that they are saying my father in that period gave money to students for stone pelting. And when we had to when we were evaluating that how much time he has been in prison and for how much duration, it was so shocking that the time the government, the media is talking about that time he was in imprisonment in one police station in Srinagar. So these fake charges that he's that terrorist or something. He's a very peace loving person. Very peace loving person. Why would the prime ministers meet him? If he was so dangerous, why would the prime ministers meet him?
Unmuted. So that's his framing him as a violent terrorist threat is something that is that you have seen. Is there any other incidences that you can think of that when we read about him in media, that is a wrong portrayal of him?
Yeah, see, there are many such things, and the good articles or the articles that were just mentioning his ideologies, they were removed. I don't see any of them right now. His everything has been removed. I don't know whether it has happened abroad or not, but here we can't see anything. His everything has been like he's nobody, like he has not done anything, just a terrorist. This is what they portray. So there are many things, many such things.
So all his speeches and his articles that might promote harmony and peace and dialogue have been removed, as you're stating. Now, let's talk a little bit about how the Indian state has treated him while he has been in prison. You had mentioned torture earlier, that he has suffered torture. I know, and this is really difficult for you, because obviously he's your father, and we'd really hope that there would be a lawyer present who could speak on this aspects. But this is extremely difficult for anybody in Kashmir to be able to come onto programs like this. This is another way the state muzzles the voices of people who are standing up for their rights. So anything else that you can share with us that we can document here, just like you're saying things are being removed online about him, we'd like to keep this on record on our behalf, so we can urge other human rights organizations to take up his case again.
Yeah, see, there are many things. Thank you for just letting me speak on these things, because see, there are many things. As I told you, the content is being removed. I have myself collected so many those news reports, those newspaper cuttings, those letters from the amnesty, those letters that were being sent. There are two books that I have of my father. I have those PDFs, The Living Legend and The Voice of Conscience. And it has everything written in it, everything. And when I read all that, I thought that if just one person will come to know this, they will be shocked, and they will say that why this person is in jail. Because see, jail, I guess jail is the not second home, jail is the first home of my father,
Mhm.
because he has spent his whole life in jail, because 35 years is not a joke, and he has given all his youth, everything, towards this cause. So I had appealed. I had appealed the human rights organizations, international organizations. But in my one appeal, I had posted that appeal video and I had tagged Prime Minister in my appeal. So what happened? It became a news as expected, and the newspaper somehow reached Tehar. And my father came to know, and it was, you know how the media then portrays in newspapers. So it was written that separatist leader Shabir Shah's daughter urged Prime Minister to release her father. So we receive a call, I guess 2 to 3 times in month, and we don't know at what time the call will come, and it's exact 5 minute call. So that time he said that you don't have to, just take it back. You don't have to ask, or you don't have to request the person who has put us in this death trap. You can't request that person to release us. If you want to request anyone, request God. If you want to ask for help, ask for help from God, because it is the only place where you will not be disappointed,
Mhm.
where you will see something. He said that don't ever do this. See, he said, I understand that you as a daughter have very different feelings for me, but at the same times, by appealing to that person, don't don't by mistake let our sacrifices go waste. So that day also, so I'm saying I did appeal those appeal videos, my account being put down, my again now I have made Instagram just today. So I'm trying to, it is very honestly, it is very difficult. I'm just 19 and
Mhm.
alone I'm doing all this. It is very difficult for me to just gather people and let them know, because here it is very dangerous to speak all this on international platform, but being in Kashmir, it is not safe to speak. But I think it is worth it, and I have been trying a lot now. uh, I have not I have not, I have hope. I have hope in God, and then in the human rights. I have hope in God and the humanity, because people 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 won't do this to us, and people won't ignore all this, because you everyone has to answer God. So it is nothing, we are not begging that come to us, but we are saying that at least see, for the sake of humanity, if you think it is wrong, then do whatever you want to do, but at least just look at it and recognize this person, recognize the struggle. 35 years is not a joke. So I've been trying my best, and still, after this suspending my Twitter account, I'm planning of creating billions and millions of Twitter accounts to aware people. This won't, this I won't just shrink, or nothing will happen to me because of all this. I'm very strong for that matter.
That, I mean, just your courage and your maturity and your grace is I mean, it's exceptional. I have a 18-year-old myself. I have a 20-year-old daughter. I cannot imagine what you are going through and how you have pursued this. And this is something that we would ask everybody who's listening here on our different platforms. These are the sort of cases, the names that get buried in 34 years in jail. And just because Western mainstream media is not picking this up as a case does not mean we can't put the work in highlighting his case, in highlighting him, the atrocities done against him, the torture that he has been through, asking for his basic human rights. Sahar, I wanted to also ask you, just to clarify this, because While he has been in jail, has he had any of his religious freedoms violated? Is he allowed to pray? Does he have access to religious books? Could you share that aspect of his incarceration with us?
Yeah. I can share this thing with you because see, they won't give the prayer mat, they won't give the tasbih. So it is everything that. One more thing I had to mention that whole life, the time he has spent in jail, he has recited a lot of Quran and all those religious books. So he knows Quran, and he just you think anybody can stop a person who knows whole Quran, and he just there is no restriction on the religious grounds, no restriction.
Okay, so but he's not been allowed prayer mats. He's not been allowed a tasbih.
Nothing is allowed inside.
Nothing is allowed inside.
Yeah.
So the Quran that he knows is what he recites from his heart. Is he allowed to have? Are you allowed to send him religious books? Or are you allowed to send him any material like that?
No, not as such, but no.
No. Okay. I mean, this is important because a lot of times Kashmiri prisoners are looked upon only from a secular human rights lens and are not looked upon from a religious freedom lens when their religious freedoms are violated under quote unquote the largest democracy in the world. When you claim to have a large democracy and you are treating your minorities with and usurping their rights as minorities, as specifically as religious minorities. So that was important for me to know and ask you. I also wanted to, we've been concentrated over, we talked about his life struggle, the fact that his father died in prison. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization that he formed, the Jammu and Kashmir Democratic Freedom Party?
Pardon? I couldn't hear you properly.
Yes, we wanted to know if you could tell us a little bit about the organization that he has founded, the Jammu and Kashmir Democratic Freedom Party.
Yeah, about his organization, I told you everything, bit by bit, is in that book. So his main motive was not to form a party. Mm-hmm. He just wants that. No, I don't think so. He believes in the parties or anything. It is that everyone should be together. Mm-hmm. Nobody is some big personality and someone is low like that. There is nothing like that. Everyone is equal, and he just wants unity. Because the power we people have, the youth, and the things we Kashmiris have seen. So it is not a big thing that if something nobody can stop us. I think after 5th August, many things stopped. People stopped talking about on many platforms, but that doesn't mean that nothing has happened. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. Anybody knows that how brave and courageous Kashmiris are, and they still have that spark inside them, but they are not showing it. Nobody's showing it right now, but you people have no idea that how courageous Kashmiris are.
MashaAllah. I'm going to open it up for questions and answers from the audience. We have one already from Aisha Sayed. She's asking, how can we expect any justice from Indian courts when there have been precedents of other innocent Kashmiris being victimized? And she's named a few others, Afzal Guru and others. The question is, do you think that you can expect any justice from Indian courts?
See, about justice, I told you that what the courts say. They say that don't even come for those hearings, etc. They said it only and only depends upon the nod, not from the higher authorities. The single nod and he's out.
Mm.
It's just that. It's just a matter of that. It's nothing related to the judiciary, the laws. They don't exist there.
Another question from Verinder Raina is, would it be possible to share his books? Or do you have copies of them that could be shared?
Yeah, I can share them. But I had kept that link on my Twitter. So I think in few days I'll try to communicate, because the Twitter team said that they can give me my account back. I don't know how. I have just applied for it. But in the meantime, I have started my Instagram account, and there maybe I can start sharing the links, the Google Drive link, and the PDFs. I have the PDFs of the books. I can share them.
Okay, it would be great if you could share those with us as well. We
Yeah.
can put them on a
So
protected server.
my social media is same. My name, Seher Shabir Shah. Everywhere it's the same.
Okay, perhaps someone can put that in chat so those who are watching can follow you on Instagram and other spots, and keep this. Our mission, inshallah, is to at least get a team of 5 people to be working consistently on this case, writing to letter to the editor, just writing, just sharing what you have learned here today and sharing that with the rest of the world, becoming Seher's right-hand people, so you can really let the world know that, so that he doesn't spend another decade in jail, especially as you heard his health is deteriorating. Seher, if you could go over that again, how perhaps we can make an appeal based on his health. I mean, not that it has worked. We just saw what happened to Father Stan Swami, who was incarcerated and died in prison, an 83-year-old, priest who had never lifted a finger to hurt anybody in his life, and died in Indian prison. But we believe Allah is the creator, Allah is the freer, He is in charge of everything. And so, as we'll ask Imam Abdul Jabbar when we close the event to make dua for Brother Shabir Shah. But in the meanwhile, if you could share again what health problems he is suffering in jail currently.
Yeah. So recently, as I told you, we received a call, and he has some kidney problems. See, it is very disturbing for us. It's not disturbing, it is very torturing for us, because what we do, we receive calls and they say that he has been advised spine surgery and some biopsy has been taken, but they have never given us any medical report. They take him to a hospital in emergency, and we just come to know later on that some test was done, Holter test was done, the reports are yet to come. Now they are saying that in few days some CT scan has to be done. There is some problem in the kidneys. There is some serious issue, and the operation is very necessary. But see, we can't trust them like this. We at least need the documents, and if the issue is so serious, at least, if not release him for this main cause, but at least on the health grounds, so that we could do a proper medical checkup and we would come to know that what actually is the problem. Because it's not only of one body part, it's heart, it's diabetes, it's bones, it's everything. And see, he has spent his whole life almost in jail. So I don't think so. I will request people that or government that please release him. But if you can't release him, at least his health is very important, because they couldn't break him till now, and they can never break him. His resolve is very strong, so they can't break him. It's just his health he's a bit unwell, and the doctor has. I don't know. I guess the next call we will receive, we will come to know about the CT scan reports. So till then, we just have to pray to God, because we know that they are not going to give us the documents. So then we have to apply in court, and then, as always, the court will say that this hearing has been deferred for 2 to 4 months, and it will go on. So health is a very important issue right now.
Seher, what do you think people who listen to the story, who learn about your father, it could be here in the United States, it could be in the UK, anywhere else in the world, in other parts of India too, um, who may feel for your father's case, what do you think they can do? What are some of the things that you would like them to do for your father?
See, I only request them just to speak for the sake of humanity. And if see people, I'm sure that nobody knows much. I don't know the book. I was just shocked when I read that book. The things that are written in them, people need to know. But I can't read that book fully in front of you or something. So I have even decided to post one page, picture of one page daily so that everybody would read this, because it's very important for you all to know that who this person is. And just I have started this campaign, support this campaign. Not he should be released like this only, but at least see the reason why is he in imprisonment. And then I don't think so anyone will say that don't release him. So there should be support. And I think campaigns help a lot. Hashtag free Shabir Shah have been using. It has awared many people. So right now I don't have Instagram, I don't have Twitter. Just made my Instagram, now I have to start it from the beginning. But I really want to aware people. And I'm sorry, I'm really very sorry that right now, before this session, I was very sick. That's why I'm stammering right now. I had plans to say a lot, but I'm stammering and I'm a bit. No, I'm not nervous, but I'm a bit disturbed. So I can't say much right now.
SubhanAllah, I can't even imagine being in your position. And just thank you so much for being here and for being a part of this and really testifying for your father and his case, and hoping for people to get motivated to stand up for Haqq, for truth, not because you take sides, not because you may believe in whatever your political beliefs are. This is a purely humanitarian, human rights, religious freedom, self-determination case. And so that is why we're really, really grateful for Sahar to be here and to really, open her wounds up and to show them to us. It takes a special kind of courage to do that. And for her to be just 19 years old and trying to do that. And imagine the Indian government trying to shut a 19-year-old's account down because she speaks the truth. Alhamdulillah. Someone is asking, are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'll start that as well. I told you now I'm unstoppable. So I'll start my Facebook account also in students. I'll post it on my Instagram.
Okay, Sahar, if you could post those links on the chat, so at least people in the chat can follow up with you and follow you and follow your dad's case. And for us, we're going to post a link over here. Please, if any one of you would like to help advocate for Seher's father, please sign up. We'd like to form a team of 5 that meets frequently, and so they can proceed. We'll help out, we'll guide, we'll let you know who to write to, where to, send you addresses, things like that. But this is something that we can do to raise our voices. That's the least we can do. That's our, as Muslims, as people of the world, as human beings, is the least we can do for someone who has suffered for 34 years. Inshallah. So brothers are here, if you could post that link over here in the chat, I'd really appreciate that. I believe we have a supporter of ours and a Sister Habiba who would like to say something. Sister Habiba, I hope this is a question for Sister Sahar. So I'm gonna, inshallah, please go ahead.
Salam alaikum, Sister Seher. I really, my heart goes out to you because there is no closeness except for the relationship between a daughter and a father. I know what the relationship between a father and a daughter, it's a very special relationship. But I wanted to know if you have approached the Amnesty, International Amnesty people, and see if he can move, I mean, if he can be taken away from India as in an asylum status to some other country where he can start promoting his cause and be in a better health and also not be at the mercy of the Indian government. There are some incidences in the past which have happened with people like that. And I think that would be a good approach to try rather than be in the jail and hoping that one day he will be freed. I don't think that Indian government is going to try to release him. So I think on amnesty situation, I think you can apply for an asylum and get him out of India. And once he's out of India, then he can really do his mission or fulfill his mission.
But honestly, he will never ever seek asylum. Never. Because I told you that nobody can never do that. It is a very positive thing you are telling me, but he will never do that. He will never do that.
But that is one of the reasons I was telling you that there is an option. There are more options than just staying in India and saying that he's going to fight from there. He will be more productive if he goes out of India, take care of his health, because the Indian government is not going to take care of him. And they might give you a runaround and a goose chase, telling him they're doing this test and that. You never know what they're doing. So before it's too late, I think there is one more option you can try. You can talk to him, and he for the betterment of the people of Kashmir and for the state of Kashmir, he can at least do that, because his reason is to fight for Kashmir, for the Kashmiri people. So for that sake, he can go out and fulfill his mission in a healthy way. Why is he stuck in India with the Indian government treating him so savagely that he might have just a few days left, and who else is going to carry out this mission?
Yeah, see, even you're right, but I have tried to approach all these organizations, Amnesty, International Human Rights, but I didn't get any response. I didn't see any response from that side.
Thank you, Sister Habiba, for your thoughts, and Sahar for your, inshallah, let's retry this again. Let's try to get in touch with Amnesty again and others as well. Amnesty, as you guys know, has also been kicked out of India, so don't know how much say they have anymore in that region. Things have really changed under this new administration, the Modi administration. So as we wrap this up with about 8 minutes left, I'm going to ask Imam Abdul Jabbar to join in and inshallah make dua for Shabir Shah and the Kashmiri people, especially those who don't have access, who are not the elite, who are suffering, the half-widows who don't know where their husbands are, the children who've been blinded by pellet guns. These are the people that we hold ourselves responsible to, not to anybody else, because they are brothers and sisters in Islam. They are our brothers and sisters in humanity. So before I hand it just over to Imam Abdul Jabbar, Sahar, do you have anything else just to say before we end this, inshallah?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's just that I need support for my campaign as well, and yes, just support for my campaign. That's all I have left up to God.
Go ahead, Imam, inshallah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have listened to the story of our daughter, Shabir Shah, how her father has been suffering and her family has been badly impacted, and how she herself has suffered. So you can help us to promote this cause. You can lend us morals, social and spiritual support to get these prisoners of conscience released from the prisons of India. You, especially living in the US and Canada and in the European countries, let's make dua for the release of all the Kashmiri prisoners who are who are in thousand, and especially for those which are the hard cases, including that of Shabir Shah, that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala make situation favorable for them to get freedom from the jails of India. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Almighty take mercy on miserable situation of our brothers and sisters and let them enjoy the freedom as we are enjoying the freedom in this part of the world. Allahumma فك أسر المظلومين ومسجونين وأسر المعتقلين اللهم يا قوي يا عزيز يا ناصر المظلومين خصوصا أخانا شبير شاه اللهم كن معه في غمه وهمه اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة إنك أنت الوهاب وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين.
Recording stopped.
Jazakallah khair, Sahar, for your time, and inshallah, we'll be in touch once this team is put together, whoever